All right, English learners, drop the pens and listen up. Have you ever built a sandcastle so weak that even a calm wave at sea would laugh just by looking at it? Yeah? That's your English right now. You're out there watching Friends on repeat, rewriting vocabulary like it's the Holy Scripture and thinking, wow, I'm totally fluent now. Newsflash, you're not. You're marinating an input like a raw chicken in soy sauce, but guess what? No heat, no output, no flavor. You're serving up undercooked English and wondering why no one understands you. Let me spell it out. If you don't speak, write, or use the damn language, it's gonna rot in your head like a forgotten salad in the back of the fridge. Brutal? Good, it's meant to be. Because today I'm handing you the one method that turns your English from a crumbling sandcastle into a solid fortress. And I know what you're thinking. But Nathan, I already study so hard. Yeah, so does Anna. She's 22, fresh out of college, now working in digital marketing, and guess what? Her English is still stuck in please introduce yourself mode. Now enter John, 30 years old, English teacher with 8 years under his belt, calm, logical, speaks like a walking grammar book if the grammar book had a personality. He's about to give her the tough love and real solutions she never knew she needed. All right, enough seasoning. Now let's hear what they have to say. No sugarcoating, just real talk. Oh no, what happened?
They said, "Your English communication wasn't strong enough for this position."
Wait, seriously? But you spent so much time preparing for that interview.
I did. I memorized all my answers, practiced pronunciation, watched tons of videos. But when the interview started, my mind just went blank. I couldn't speak naturally.
Oof, that sounds rough.
I could understand them. But when I tried to reply, nothing came out. I felt so stupid.
You're not stupid, Anna. That's actually a super common problem. I watched a video recently that said 90% of English learners waste their time learning the wrong way.
How do you know all these things?
I'm an English teacher. If I don't know these things, what else would I know?
Oh, right. Because chatting with you feels so casual, like friends, I suddenly forgot. Anyway, what do you mean, the wrong way?
Most people just learn passively, like watching YouTube, reading articles, doing grammar exercises, but they never actually use English.
Yeah, that's me.
The speaker in the video was really clear. She said, use it or lose it. Your brain only keeps what you use.
That explains why I keep forgetting everything I learn.
Exactly. There's something called the forgetting curve. It's a real thing.
What is it?
It means that after you learn something, you forget most of it very quickly, unless you use it. Like, you can forget 50% of what you learn in just one day.
Seriously?
Yep. That's why active use or output is so important. It helps slow down the forgetting process.
So passive learning, like watching videos, isn't enough?
Not even close. That's called passive recognition. It makes you feel like you know something, but your brain hasn't truly learned it.
So what's better?
Active recall. That's when you try to bring the word or idea out of your memory, like when you speak or write without looking at notes.
So even if it's hard, it sticks better?
Exactly. That's why the output hypothesis is so important.
What's that?
It's a theory from a language expert named Meryl Swain. She says that real learning happens when you try to use a language, not just when you listen to it.
Because that's when I notice what I don't know, right?
Right? That gap, when you try to say something but struggle, that's when your brain grows.
So what kinds of output are there?
Three main types: speaking output, writing output, and inner speech.
Let's start with speaking.
Speaking output means talking out loud in English. You can do a daily monologue. Just talk to yourself for 5 minutes a day. Or voice journaling, record yourself talking about your day. You can also try language exchange, like speaking with a partner online.
That sounds scary.
Don't worry, start small. Even saying simple sentences like, today I ate noodles, is a good start.
Got it. What about writing?
Writing output includes things like free writing. Just write without worrying about grammar. You can also keep a language journal. Some people write letters or blog posts.
I think I'd enjoy that.
That's great. Then there's inner speech.
You mean like thinking in English?
Exactly. Talking to yourself silently in English. like when you walk, clean your room, or wait for the bus. If you practice it often, your brain starts thinking in English automatically.
So, how do I start using output?
Try the 30-day active output plan on
Okay, how does it work?
week 1. Do 10 minutes of speaking or writing each day. Simple topics like my favorite food or my routine.
I can do that.
Week 2. Increase to 15 to 20 minutes. Topics can be a bit harder, like your opinion on something or telling a story. Like, what's one thing I would change about school? Or describe a difficult decision you made.
Okay, so go deeper.
Yes, and try using more new words. Use a thesaurus if needed. Try telling a short story, even if it's simple.
And week 3?
That's when you share. Post a short paragraph on Facebook, Reddit, or even your Instagram story. Or talk to someone. Use an app like Hello Talk.
That sounds scary.
It is, but it also makes it real. You'll feel nervous, and that's when your brain starts learning faster.
Real stakes, real growth. What about week 4?
Week 4 is about pushing limits. Record a short video of yourself explaining something in English, like how to make your favorite dish. Or write something longer, like a guide or a short story,
Even if no one watches?
especially if no one watches. The goal is not to impress, it's to express. But if your content goes viral, great. It will inspire others and motivate you. If it doesn't, that's okay too. No one is judging you. No one knows who you are, and you don't care what others do.
Got it. So I slowly build confidence and skill.
Exactly, it's about consistent action, not perfection.
But I'm still scared of making mistakes.
That fear is normal. It's called the embarrassment barrier. It's the invisible wall that stops you from speaking, even when you know the words.
Yeah, like I'm fine when I talk to myself. But the moment someone's watching, my brain just freezes.
Totally normal. Your brain isn't broken, it's protecting you from what it thinks is danger. Looking stupid, being judged, making mistakes.
So, how do I get over it?
You don't fix it. You raise your embarrassment threshold. Like how athletes train to increase pain tolerance, language learners train to increase discomfort tolerance.
So, just keep doing things that scare me?
Not all at once. Do it like exposure therapy. Start small. Talk to yourself in English for 1 minute a day, then 2. Then record yourself and listen back. Then maybe send a short voice message to a close friend.
So, like levels in a game.
Exactly. You don't fight the final boss on day 1.
You talk like you've been through this before.
Yeah, of course. Before becoming a teacher, I applied for a job at a foreign company. At my first interview, I was just like you. My mind went blank and I couldn't say a word. I had studied for years but never practiced speaking. After that, I realized knowing isn't enough. You have to use it to remember.
I guess I thought I had to be perfect before I spoke. That's why I'm hesitant to use it.
That's a myth. It's being understood. And you can be understood even with mistakes.
That makes me feel better. But still, it's hard to take the first step.
That's where tech can help. Use tools. Record your voice on your phone. Use apps like otter.ai to transcribe your speech so you can spot what's missing. Try grammar checkers when you write. And of course, talk to AI.
I've talked to ChatGPT before. It felt weird at first, but then it was kind of comforting, like it won't judge me.
Yeah, that's the power of safe output. It helps you build confidence before you face real conversations.
That's actually kind of exciting.
So, looking back, that interview wasn't really about how much English you knew.
Yeah, it was about whether I could actually use what I'd learned.
Exactly. You froze not because you didn't study enough, but because you didn't practice using English out loud.
That makes so much sense now.
Fluency doesn't come from knowing, it comes from doing,
From speaking, writing, even thinking in English.
right? You don't need more input, you need more output.
Use it or lose it.
That's the rule. So, no more hiding behind videos and grammar apps, okay?
No more. Starting today, I speak and write every day.
And in 30 days, if another interview comes,
I'll show up as someone who uses English, not just studies it.
that's the spirit.
Talking with you really opens my mind. You're the most knowledgeable English teacher in the world.
Of course. You bet.
Thank you so much, teacher.
No need, just buy me this coffee.
I'll treat you to 2 more cups then. We'll drink to stay alert for work and study.
And the first thing you need to do when you're alert is to immediately do what I advised. Not just saying words. So, what did we learn today? That waiting for perfect grammar is like waiting for a sandcastle to survive high tide? It's not going to happen. Anna finally stopped marinating in Netflix and vocabulary lists. She showed up. She messed up. She spoke up. Now her English, not perfect, but powerful, real, alive. And you? Are you still waiting for the time when you are truly ready to become fluent in English? That day will not come if you are not still lazy in finding the right method and practicing it. So here's your final shot. 7 days, 10 minutes a day, out loud, on paper, no excuses. This was Hot Sip with Nathan. No coddling, no filters, just a mirror and a mic. See you next time, unless you're still busy crafting the world's most beautiful sandcastle that no one ever sees. Good luck with that.